Piraiee, whom you already had a chance to listen.
Hello. So guys, I didn't have time to say hi to everyone, so if you don't mind, before starting anything, I just want to know exactly to whom we're talking. So if you don't mind, first I'm going to speak a little bit about myself and then try to just know you a little bit. So my name is Ahmed, I'm CEO of ICOs Media. I'm also CEO of another fintech company. I'm a board member of the Chamber of Commerce. So we do a little bit of trading, especially because I'm from Polish-Iranian Chamber of Commerce, so you can imagine we're not that unfamiliar with the energy sector. But I'm more of a financial guy, so I was just trying to somehow try to combine all of this together. And because we had very good speech before, that they went very well inside the technical part of that. So I thought maybe we can try to talk about maybe some missing parts in the middle. So I'm just trying to ask some simple questions. I would be very kind if you just give me a little bit of understand. How many of you guys working in the energy sector? Some of you are shy, or okay. So and in the financial sector. Okay, so good. So it's kind of a half-half. How many of you guys? Okay, I'm just trying to make it simple. How many of you guys own any cryptocurrency? Okay, good. So there is a good level of adoption. And how many of you have a solution in the blockchain? Like anyway, 1, 2. Good. And how many of you are using anything regardless of the coin-based technology in the blockchain? Anybody? Good. I think there are some points to 1. Perfect. Now I know why you were the first speaker. You know, it's just, now we're going to talk a little bit about something maybe a little bit more fundamental, because we really want to talk about the reimagining the rules of the game in the energy sector. I want to start by going a little bit too far into the history. Like, we're talking about right now, SEC is trying to talk about like, oh my god, like this is like, we have to stop all these things. So how many of you guys know this picture? Because anybody in the financial sector have to remember that time. I'm not going to go back to history, I only have 20 minutes, I'm just going to be very, very brief. We agreed not to print money whenever we need, whenever we want. And apparently we just forgot about it somewhere, right? And I'm just trying to, again, if that wasn't old enough for you, I'm going to go even back. I'm going to talk about 2,500 years ago. This is a small village. Do I have a pointer here? Yeah, so anyone of you knows what this is? Exactly. So this is the Rye of Yapi. This is 2,500 years ago. And these things you see here, this beautiful stuff, and I think these are some financial advisors. These are the coins. But how did they use it? It's not Satoshi Nakamoto or something, it's 2,500 years ago. They literally had a decentralized, distributed way of exchanging money. Just to be a little bit more specific about what I'm talking about. This is where we are, right? Centralized way. So whenever we want to do trading, we just basically start from one point, we go back to the central way and try to do that. This is the decentralized way, so this might be like the central part, and then these are like some small places. Talking about this complexity. So how did that work? As you can imagine, these things wouldn't fit in anybody's pocket, so they always were somewhere. Anybody knew, anybody in the village know, like, okay, so this yapi belongs to this person, and everybody know that. So I would just come and I was like, okay, so I need a cow, you know, like this very energetic, complicated story, right? So I need this. So what they were doing, that everybody would agree that this cow is yours, and now this yapi is mine. So if tomorrow I would just leave the village, nobody had a problem with the idea that this yapi belongs to this person, because if that person would be there or not be there, that was the way. So I'm talking about 2,500 years ago. We had a distributed ledger that would work. And now, after all of this time, we're just having a problem understanding about the idea, what blockchain is, how we can try to basically use the technology in order to do that, and is the future? And I was like, no, let's just go back a little bit. Let's try to understand where we come from. So the whole idea is that a blockchain is just another technology that would try to help us go back to our basis, not even back to the strange future that we have to be worrying about, like is the AI is going to take over. Different story, different story. We're just talking about the idea that if you want to do trading on the energy sector or anywhere else, is there any other way of controlling things? We're not even talking about coin-based effects. We can talk about it in a different context and in a little bit of more time, but because we're literally going to talk about lots of stuff, first thing, it's trustless. What does it mean? On a blockchain, lots of stuff that we're listening is just some buzzwords and the things that they are basically are being raised because like I have my own ICO and I want to basically make a few bucks and everything is going to go further. But what we're talking about right now is just the basis, and then I'm going to go a little bit into the energy and how this energy can basically use this technology. Forget about decentralization, forget about everything else. We're going to step by step talk about how the blockchain and the whole idea can try to somehow help. Think about the idea that you want to do trading in energy or any other sector, and you don't have to trust anyone, because everything is exactly as it is, and nobody can touch it. So I'm not again talking about the future, I'm talking about the past. I'm just talking about the fact that everybody knows who owns this. But right now, you can just hear about lots and lots of different ways that people can try to basically manipulate everything around it. So the first point is about the trust, and the other is about subsidizing the capital. Like right now, if you look at even lots of financial problems, right now the economy is showing us that the interest rates are going to go high. But because of the centralization, we just manipulate it. So we're subsidizing the economy to go down. We're basically trying to manipulate it, and there is no other way to literally try to stop a centralized government from destroying you and your future, unless you understand that the only solution is for a decentralized way, and at the same time in a way that people at least have to understand that the market goes one way and the interest rates are going into the other way. How many of you know this one? Nothing new, right? It's ICOs. If anybody of you read the book, have you ever heard of that? So if we all know that. So what is the name of the book? It might just take 2 pages. But in order to just understand it a little bit more, we just put a small barcode, you just scan it. It could be the, I don't know, like you know, like a very complicated book. But when you can read it, then you can try to understand it. Still, when you want to sell an energy, if you want to sell whatever, all you have to do is to define things in a large scale with a very complicated story. What we are basically trying to do here, we try to find something called the cryptographic hash functions. We try to just define things by one thing that is exactly as it is, and there is no way to basically just manipulate it or try to call it something else. So if you have any formula, if you have any things that you really try to keep it and you don't want to be manipulated, so you can try to easily just put it into a different way of pronouncing a name of a book into something much more simple and try to do that. Frankly speaking, what I'm trying to do in a very, very short time, because I also want to spend some time in order to answer some questions, to say why we're even waiting for these things. You know, I'm not talking about a buzzword of a blockchain. I hope by the end of that I'm not even going to talk about it at all. But I just wanted to talk about something that it's so obvious that everybody have to use, regardless of if it's going to be peer-to-peer, regardless of if it's going to be a part of it, because you can always try to take one part of it and forget about the others that you're not really comfortable with. The other part is about anonymity. Like whenever we were talking about blockchain, about cryptography, about cryptocurrency, everybody was like, yes. So how many of you want to just pay to the terrorists? How many of you want to do something to avoid taxes? Yes, there are aspects of that. I'm not going to basically just say something is black and white. But the whole idea that this is not anonymous. This is not something that you can read. That's it. When we're talking about anonymity in cryptocurrency or in the blockchain, we're not talking about the fact that nobody can find me. No. This is a book. If you can scan it and you go to ISBN, you can exactly find the name of the book. I'm not talking about like, yes, there are there are lots of Zcash and Monero and all the other things that they can try to do that. I agree that I'm not going to talk about technology right now, I'm just talking about the ideology, that lots of things are going to be they're going to be more and more visible and more obvious for everyone if it's going to be on a blockchain. Because the blockchain is going to show exactly where the money comes from, how the money is going to be spent. Right now, the whole idea of the KYC and AML are going to be literally disrupted by the blockchain, rather than try to be undermined. So another thing that you don't at all have to worry about it. Even if somebody is going to work on a cryptocurrency right now on a blockchain and you're not comfortable with, there are perfect companies in order to do the AML, KYC, and try to come back with you with the perfect answer, much better than where this money comes from, a field that nobody really understands. Another very important thing about the future, I don't know how many of you heard about the hacking these autonomous cars, like.
You have a question?
No, I heard.
Ah, okay, good. Yeah, I was just thinking this, yes, like, what is this? So, one of the most important factors, just think about what would be the best way to stop a car from being hacked. Let's think about it, that if all of these cars are going to be connected with each other, every single one of them, and if you want to start your car's operating system have to look exactly like every single other car in the planet. Who can hack it? A person that can change all the cars in the planet at the same time. So, yes, I mean, yes. You watch too much movies. So, yes, I mean, if anybody can somehow just, like attack the whole block at any time, yes, blockchain can be hacked. But this is an impossible unless you just have a very good movie. So the whole idea in the autonomous car is that if your car wants to start, first it checks its program with the whole network of the cars that is trustless, so nobody can try to manipulate it. If my car works exactly as all other cars in the planet, I can make sure no hacker can hack my car. So think about it. Security, trustless, visibility, all of these things are the things that you can try to bring to your business. So now think about some very interesting part of the energy sector that you have a big cybersecurity around it. And now you can understand that if this energy wants to be hacked, then they have to hack all other energy sectors all around the world. And that makes the probability of even the smartest person to hack it close to zero. I'm not saying it's zero, it's close to zero. So this is a technology. You can try to basically bring everything back here. This is another very important thing that we have to understand, that where we really are. Sometimes when we are talking about the blockchain, people are just going too far. How many of you guys read the white paper for the Satoshi Nakamoto's paper? Good. Even in the Satoshi's paper, blockchain was blockchain. It was not one word. We're talking about a word that, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is almost a year old. So when we're talking about like, oh, are you using it or you're not using it, we're not talking about something that, I just hope that you understand that, it's not McDonald's, this is just food, right? So we're not talking about this part, we're talking about this part. So as much as nobody, maybe some of you have Tesla, so I didn't want to just say it, but like we're talking about this part of the innovation. So that's the point, that we don't have to be agnostic about why, because nobody is using it, so maybe there's a problem with the technology, maybe because there are so many things that are happening and we see that they are better. It's just about the time. Every single technology is going to go through the same phase, so we just have to be a little bit more basically patient with that. For the rest of that, I'm just going to touch a little bit about what is happening in the world of the energy, but frankly speaking, I have lots of more knowledgeable people in that area, so I'm just going to touch the surface of that and try to just move forward. The decentralized optimal power flow. Another fun fact about talking about the blockchain is that not only you can use the blockchain technology for securing what you already have, or for try to even change the different way to monetize your system, you can even try to optimize the way that your grid is also working by the same technology. So I'm just basically trying to bring back to some buzzwords that they are super important right now, that they are really practically being disrupted right now by the blockchain in the energy sector. So another alternative direction method for the multipliers, that was also another very interesting papers. I'm just going to put my email in the end. Literally every single one of them was a paper that I was just trying to read and try to bring it. But definitely 20 minutes with the questions and answers is not something that we can try to go back to the technicality. What I really wanted to do is just to open the door, try to just basically say that there's nothing strange about it. it's just a car. You just sit down, you just, just turn the car and then just go with it, right? You don't have to understand the mechanisms in it. You just have to understand that this is a car that you can trust and this is going to bring you to the destination. So, and the distributed energy resources, the energy certifications, that's also a very important reason, and the guarantee of the origins. So any one of these factors, when you definitely put these things on a blockchain, you can understand and you can make sure that everything that is happening is going to be 100% accurate and there is going to be no data manipulation for that. This might be a happy chart or a very sad chart. Because if I wanted to show you the usability of the financial sector or many other sectors in blockchain, I think I needed maybe like 4 more slides. So I'm happy we had at least one of these people here. So, and trust me, I didn't just try to put something Polish or something. I really tried to find every single one of them. So at least the ones that I could, at least to some level, understand what they're doing, and I kind of like what they, like the solution was. And this just shows a very important factor, that energy is still yet to be disrupted by the blockchain. None of these technologies, when I was looking, was going anywhere close to the foundation of the technology sector. And frankly speaking, just looking at real numbers that comes from the energy sector, I really feel right now when we're talking about the technology adoption, if the energy can try to somehow understand that this is not a foreign technology, this is not something that they have to be worried about, or something like that. This is all I have to talk right now. It's not about talking about or educating you regarding what to do regarding that. You're the person behind the whole idea. What I have to say right now is don't be afraid of that. And don't think about it as a 0 and 1. Think about it as something that had 10 different reasons to use it. So if you don't like any one of the usages, try to just find the other one. And make sure at least one of them is definitely the right thing for you to use. So I wanted just to spend some more time in order to just have some questions and answers. I also tried to really stack with the timing. So my next question is just who is the next person on the list? And I hope that we're at the beginning, so we're just going to put the beginning's names here. And with that, I'm just going to just wait for the questions, and if somebody has a question.
But literally just one question, because we will have a question and answer session, the second panel. So if anyone has a quick question to Ahmed regarding what's just been said, if not, let's just move straight to the second panel.
The presentation was so good, nobody had any questions. So thank you very much for everyone. This is my email, and if you just take the last part, you can basically find me on any social media, so that wouldn't be a really complicated thing. And yeah, I think we can try to discuss the rest of that in the panel. So thank you very much.
Okay, second panel, are ICOs the right way to